Hello, everyone. My name is Elison Blancaflor. I'm a scientist at NASA's Kennedy Space Center, and I work with plants. So today, I'm going to be telling you about growing plants in space. I know you all are all working on hydroponics to better grow plants here on Earth. So, one thing you may be asking is why is NASA interested in plants? Well, it is because plants provide many benefits to astronauts as they try to live longer in space. And some of the benefits that plants provide are shown here. First, plants provide a source of fresh food. Here you can see astronauts Mark Kelly and Kel Lindgren feasting on some fresh lettuce plants on the International Space Station. So most food that the astronauts eat on the space station are prepackaged food. However, being away from Earth, they often desire freshly harvested veggies and fruits. Second, plants revitalize the air. They produce oxygen that we need to breathe and remove carbon dioxide through the process of photosynthesis. This picture of happy astronauts, Shannon Walker and Mike Hopkins, actually leads me to my next point on why plants are important for exploring space. Astronauts love working with plants, well, for the most that I know, just like many of us love gardening here on Earth. Plants, especially in places that are tight and confined, which will be the case for future human space habitat, at least in the early years of space exploration, can make you feel a connection to Earth. And plants have so many other benefits, like you see here. I already mentioned food, air, and happiness. Plants can also serve as biological factories to produce medicines and other useful materials. However, before we can effectively use plants in space, we have to overcome many challenges. First, we need to understand how the space environment, which can be challenging, affects how plants grow and develop. And this has to do more with understanding their biology. Second, there are also engineering challenges. And the engineering challenges really align well with what you are working on with hydroponics. So there are many challenges of growing plants in space. I show a few here. Okay, first, one of the things that we have to consider, are they safe to eat? Second, can we control plant diseases? And third, in space, there's really not much space, at least for now, because we have to grow plants in these small chambers. Okay? And last but not the least, okay, and this is related to your hydroponics work. Okay, in space, plants can be stressed and because of too much or too little water. So on the topic of water, okay, unlike on Earth, reduced gravity in space can affect how water behaves. And so water, as you can see in this picture here, can get to places where it's not supposed to go. And so going back to the point I made earlier, what plants can suffer stress because of too little or too much water. And so, in fact, the work that you're doing with hydroponics could somehow give us some new ideas on how to better manage water in space so plants can grow really well. And something that I really enjoy because I'm a plant biologist is to use biological concepts to solve problems of growing plants in space. And one question that I'm really interested in answering is, can we develop plants like this tomato here that have more fruit than leaves so we can maximize the limited amount of space that we can allocate for growing plants? And so you can see from this picture here that the answer is obviously yes. And so with that, I end this presentation by posing two challenge questions that I'd like you to think about. First, how can we adapt plants for space travel given the problems that I mentioned? Second, how can scientists and engineers work together to create a sustainable, and I know you're all working on sustainability as well, closed systems to support human life in space? And so we can answer these questions. The scenario that, like the one I show here, where we have greenhouses lush with plants attached to humans' habitats on Mars, for example, could become a reality. And thank you and good luck to with you with your projects.